Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Unity of Command cast with me, host Imperial Dane. We'll be having a little fight here around Leningrad, Lake Ladoga. It is cold, and we'll be taking Leningrad. This is a bit more of a speculative mission because, as you might be noticing, we've got a bit of a new unit here. We've got Finnish infantry added on top of the rest. So that should have a bit of fun. The regular infantry division, and we have the Polizei division. We have a security unit designated the RHAG troops. My best guess might be due to the HG. There's Reichsmarschall Hermann Göring, who actually had a enlarged flag regiment around on the Eastern Front for a bit before they were formed into the Fallschirmjäger Panzergrenadier Division Hermann Göring. At least that would be my guess. A bit hard to say though, but holding up here is Novgorod, ensuring it doesn't get rushed by the Russians. Got a few Panzer Division and a few motorized elements as well, but overall not looking at that grand. I've got plenty of air support. I've even got some air supply in case my tanks rush a bit too far ahead, but otherwise that's it really. Also got a nasty case of bad weather right around Leningrad, which overall means I won't be going very far initially. Not unless I fancy some great losses. There are the units here which are reasonably well dug in, so I could conduct something there, initiating with a few air attacks. I've also got a few units up here, but they have to get across water. And while I could certainly do something with them at the same time, that would require air attacks to sort of soften up. Otherwise, I very much risk suffering two grave casualties, even with Finnish infantry, due to the fact that they're dug in, and again, it would be across river, which again means there are some large penalties. So those are a few things to consider. I think I'll initially push over here, do a bit of damage that way. Not having an awful lot of luck. There we go. Motorized follows up, secure the bridge point. In the meanwhile, I might in fact in the Panzer Division to aid around Leningrad. There we go. And that's a bit more like it. Panzer Division moves up. And there we go. Sadly, I can't really move much farther, but the gist of it is there. Though I'm not really going to conduct any further assaults initially. And even if you move something in, it's going to be quickly destroyed. On the other hand, if I move a bit too far, I might risk lance being extended. Oh well, I'll send those in, though they might still risk some vicious Soviet counterattacks. In which case, I suppose I could pop them with a flak 88 or something else, sort of help that way. And I might want to upgrade these with some Pioniere to help attacking. Then again, the Panzer Division right here would be a much better choice to sort of assist with the job of clearing out around Leningrad. So in fact, let's do that. Meanwhile, this should hopefully spread out some of the defenders from around here, where there's an awful lot near to the Volga River. Oh, I've also got these gentlemen here, so I might want to use them too. There we go, destroyed. Motorized infantry moves ahead for Deutschland and does the trick. There we go, minor progress being made across the front. And let us end the turn and see how the Russians respond here, the Leningrad front. Pulls back towards there, towards Novaya Ladoga, I'm going to imagine, because that's the closest thing to Ladoga besides Leningrad. So in that case, I use some deduction powers there to sort of figure it out, and there we go, trying to cut off the Soviet bastards. I would have thought they apparently managed to sneak past there, and I missed that. That's a bit good. Well, not much to do but counterattack the Russians and show them what for. And that was pretty quick, to be honest. want to clear that up a bit, so I don't risk any unfriendly surprises from that angle either. That would be a less than happy situation. Well, I'm going to... Yes, we'll clear out these sorts. That, in fact, worked out surprisingly well. Unlike a Typhoon, the Luftwaffe seems to be performing considerably stronger. There we go. That's that sorted out. Panzer moves into support there. Then I probably should have tested the Pioneer system. Oh, damn it. Forgot. Oh well. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. I'm going to have to begin attacking towards here. There we go. I'll keep them in the forest just to sort of discourage the Soviets from attacking. Otherwise, if I pull them out there, they might just get the courage to actually do so, which would not be quite as hilarious as imagined. We also note here, the weather's cleared up! Hoorah! Which also means I'm going to be attacking here. Pushing through with several Finnish units. Thus forcing the Russians to also have to shift units towards the north all of a sudden. Which is also what one would want. So there we go. Leningrad should soon be crushed beneath the jackpot of the Reich. Ah. And ending the turn once more. Also, yes, I'm sure you can imagine this is not going to be as long as Operation Typhoon, which again was in its own right an epic, unsurprisingly. One would expect nothing less of Typhoon. There we go, trying to counterattack to cut off my units. Doing so quite well. The fiends. How dare they? Shifting units about. Digging in there, which might also necessitate the Panzer Division towards there, but even if it can quickly shift it away from Leningrad, I should be able to make it. I should be able to make it and keep up the time plan for a brilliant victory. There we go. So there we go. Pressure is mounting. There we go as well. Right, that might not work out quite as well intended. Not unless I fancy bleeding out the Polizei a bit much, which I am not necessarily a fan of. Not that they was particularly amazing division, but even then they're still tougher than most of what I otherwise got. So they... Oh, bother. I really didn't need that. I can keep one unit going, so unlikely that's going to be my Panzer, but the problem is I'm not really going to make much progress in the mud. There's a bit of a limit to what I can actually do. Definitely no good. Quickly, Sicherungstruppens, away! Your brothers in arms, I need of you. That's the front line. Then again, I could try and call in some air attacks. Then again, could also do here and actually probably have a better chance of succeeding. Also, less likely of leading the city in a burning ruin. Then again, so tempting. Yes! Now the SS still suffered. But Leningrad is ours. So there we go. In fact, I took it before I was supposed to. Well, ain't that just lovely? Now, of course, I just need to hold it. I probably want to switch over some Finnish troops to hold it, since they'll be in a slightly better condition than their German compatriots. The Polizei will probably not be doing so much afterwards, despite attacking a unit that was completely suppressed. I mean, come on. And the supply situation is not looking entirely good there. I might want to sort of prepare. There we go. It looks like the Russians are receiving additional tank divisions. Apparently, no, this is a series of tank brigades stitched together, and a rifle division, which is apparently doing quite well. My troops might be having slightly less luck. And now, either way, the way to Novaya Ladoga should be open. Sort of. If the mud doesn't make a mess of things, as it always does. Damnable mud. Gets in everywhere. And there we go, we see the Surge quickly dispatching a unit to hold back my... Ow! There we go. Also note, the veterans these days has also helped some routes in, getting them resupplied, since the more veteran division is, there are also more, for example, things out of steps here. Once it got suppressed, it can actually recover. That also actually makes a difference at times, but again, my progress is all of a sudden not going to be looking so good. Scheiße. It managed to knock that out, which is something, I suppose. Need to pull those back here. There we go. That's not looking too sharp. Not too sharp either. Once more, the mud proves itself to be a most frustrating foe. There we go. Sort of. Might be a few gaps. And this unit is also not looking so good supply-wise. Need to pull back a bit. The weather definitely proving to be quite the difficulty factor all of a sudden. Might as well see if I can't... No, that's not going to go very well to do again. To mud. Wonderful mud. And that had a minor effect. Well, another turn. Hopefully the weather will clear up. Hopefully. There we go, one Finnish division down. A lot more to go. Fortifying units here. Noting also this is actually the supply point for Leningrad, as they use that lake to actually get supplies across to Leningrad. Oh, they're even reinforcing the tank division. Oh, bother. And attaching KV-1s, that's not really nice, now is it? Oh well, hopefully the weather's better. Well, moderately so. Oh, hardly that much better. But at least things could be looking a lot worse now. Going to quickly form up some replacements, which might help other units fight on. Going to be digging those in, so there's absolutely no chance of Leningrad quickly being seized by some daring Soviet raid. With lots of ooh-rahing and pew-pew-pew. Also means that should be open. Moderately so, that's still going to be rather painful though. So never mind, didn't have quite the effect as hoped. And let us end the turn once more. Hopefully with moderately more luck and progress. Looks like the beginning shift units are up from there, which should open up for me pushing through there. Hoorah. There we go. Ooh, elite status. Ain't that lovely? No reason to worry about losing veteran status there, since they're hardly the crack elite of the SS. Oh right, needs to supply those. So close. But not quite as it got there. I did manage to sort out that bit. That's lovely. Well, I suppose I'll have to begin sorting those out, one way or the other. And there we go. Progress. So there we go, both Panzer divisions are elite, which certainly makes things easier. Rolling in tank divisions to secure up points, not a bad idea, not a bad idea, to an extent. And there you go, as soon as we're able to cross through there, of course, it also forced them away from the last bit of the river, fully opening up for me moving in from the north. Although by now the effect is going to be limited since I'm already so close to the other points around here. And I also need to get back at Tickland. Yeah. Go. Yay, I got one of the 2 points. A minor victory for the Reich. Very minor. And moving up those as fast as I bloody well possibly can. And let us end the turn. quickly pulling up as many defenders around there. And I actually need to get things a bit more speedy. I'm running out of turns rather severely. Damn the weather. Damn, it's so hard. Got one town. Righto, might still make it, might still make it. Jolly well hope so. Ending the turn. Can we make it on the last one? Despite rather constant obfuscation from the weather. Unit wiped out. They might try and retake the village there. Apparently they're having rather limited luck, having an attack across the water. And the units are not looking too good either in that department. There we go. Come on. Another Finnish unit destroyed. Not a great loss for Deutschland, though I'm sure the Finns might be a bit displeased. But there we go. Finally. Victory is in sight. So I thought. Woof. That was bloody well close. There we go. A victory for Deutschland, although pretty damn close. That was definitely not the best outcome. The weather definitely proving to be quite nasty. Choosing right the problematic zones to peer in, and then of course just huge rain coverage turning everything into a mire. But there we go. Victory nonetheless was secured. I overcame the obstacles, although of course it was a bit close. Finnish units saw some action, German units did, and I managed to get a lot of my Panzer and motorized up to elite status. That must count for something as well. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got inspired to perhaps get the game you haven't already, in which case, you know, buy it at Steam or unityofcommand.net. For those inquiring, there's of course the Russian campaign, also one you don't have to buy for, because again, this is merely an expansion with a German campaign. There's also the main game, which has a Russian and German one, set around Stalingrad. You can also buy an additional Russian campaign, which is called, you know, Red Turn. So, just figured a heads up there, since apparently some were inquiring. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.